Hey Leah,
Hey Christina, how are you?
good. How you doing?
God, your hair looks pretty.
Thank you. I
You're
decided to
welcome.
do it. I haven't been doing my hair a lot these days.
What's the point?
Like, I don't need to look presentable,
I, I hear you.
or what?
I know. I wear yoga pants to work every single day, so and flip flops usually.
I well, before we started coming in more frequently, like we were doing once a week. That's how I was coming in,
Yeah,
and it was just like, nobody's
yeah,
here. Like,
yeah,
try to do a little something now when I come into work, but
yeah. I get it. I'm with you. I'm right there with you. So we kind of already talked a little bit about the pandemic just by talking about not dressing or doing hair or anything.
mm-hmm.
How else is it affecting you?
Um, I know initially it was this whole thing of like try not to have anxiety because everywhere I turned, I could get on social media, I could turn on the TV, I can turn on the radio, and all you hear is pandemic or COVID-19. And you get tired of hearing those two words.
Yeah.
And then because everyone was so unsure, it was all of these, here are the signs and symptoms. If you have this, you might have it. So I have a simple cough. And I probably would have always had that cough if we never would have experienced this, right? But now because I have this cough, oh my God, that's what it is. When allergies were like all the pollen and everything, my allergies were horrible. But during that time, I was like, or am I experiencing?
I did the same thing. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, every time I would wake up and I would be congested, I'd be, oh my God, do I have COVID? This is scary.
My chest got tight one time, and I was just like, oh my God, this is what they were talking about. No, it's my allergies, and this is how it affects me every year. But because of what was going on, it's like, no, wait, wait. So I had to like get over that and just be like, you know what, you are okay, you are safe. If you end up with it and you actually have it, it still is okay. Like it's out of your control. And so like one of my friends, we were talking about a completely different situation, but he said something that's really been playing in my head just all year. And he was just like, I just focus on what I can control. And so when he said it, it was like, that was good. So then this was before everything even popped off, but I started playing that in my head, like, let me just focus on what I can control. This is what's going on right now. I'm not gonna make myself have the symptoms. If I do feel like I really have them, I'll make the next move. But here we are. I don't want to have anxiety. It doesn't put me in a good space, and I just want to have as much peace as possible. And then on top of that, I live alone, and I'm an introvert, so I'm a homebody. I like to be home. But when I feel like going out, I want to go out. And when they say you shouldn't go out, like when we were kind of like, let's just stay at home, it was like, no, I need to go out. You can't tell me out. So I kept just having all this, like, well, now what do I do? I'm at home. But being home alone, I mean, it forced me to like work on myself. So there were things about me that I was able to point out more clearly because it's just me, that I may not have been able to see because I'm out with friends or trying to find something to do. So there's been a positive side. Not to mention the fact that I'm able to still work and so many people aren't. There's been this whole, I need to have some gratitude. I need to be grateful for the things that I'm still able to have, or the student loan situation. I was telling my mom, like, that's a blessing in disguise. I still have my job and I'm able to make payments on my student loan with 0% interest, you know?
There
So
you
I'm,
go.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to, like, I'm always trying to find the positive things and, like I said, just focus on what I can control. And that's how I've been able to try to manage, like, being in a good headspace during all of this because otherwise it would just be like I'd be just going crazy, you know. So
Yeah, and you're a young person. Yeah, how old are you again, if you don't mind saying?
32.
32.
Yeah.
And so, do you have like a lot of friends that are feeling the same way? Are you talking about it with them? How are you managing that, your friendships?
So one friend, I think we kind of had similar mindsets of just being anxious in the beginning. But as time moved forward, it was this whole, oh, it's forcing me to work on myself. For my other friends, life just kept going for them. No one was really like stressed. I think they're stressed now because the bulk of my friends are teachers, either on a college level or high school level. So the stress that has now come with school earlier in the year and then school starting back, um, I hear a lot more of them just voicing their concerns or challenges that they're being faced with, and I feel for them. And then, of course, like people that I'm close to who have children who are in school, I'm like, I feel for you. So that's kind of how we've communicated about it. But we're all still on this journey of let me just try to find different ways to keep the peace. Let me find ways to not let this get the best of me and not let it affect my everyday life because we still, I mean, life is still going on. We just gotta, make the best of it. So,
Yeah, yeah, and my sister's a teacher or teacher's assistant, so I hear a lot about what's going on there, and it's very scary and frustrating and sad too. I
yeah.
feel like our way of life has changed dramatically, so there's that grieving for what used to be that is also happening.
Yeah, not to mention the death. Some of the people I know have lost a loved one, and it wasn't necessarily related to the virus, but it's happening during a time where now you've got to decide, am I going to attend this funeral or not? One of my cousins, he recently passed, and it was like, am I going? I had to like settle with watching it virtually because it's not just me that I can think about. I come to work, so I'm always thinking about other people that I'm around. I still visit my parents. I'm thinking about them. It's other people that I'm always conscious of when I'm trying to make a decision. And so now you're having to opt out of things that in the past it would have been a no-brainer. Yeah, I'm gonna go, and that's it. And it's a tough decision, like especially like losing a loved one. The one thing you want, for me anyway, is to just be around my family and feel the love and the comfort from being around family. But it's like, no, like these gatherings, like all that stuff, I'm like,
Right.
so it's just challenging.
Yeah, yeah, it is really hard. Yeah, and every decision seems to have additional layers to it. Nothing's just straightforward anymore. Oh, I want to go get this. Oh, do I have my mask? Yeah, how many people are going to be there? Is it open? What time did they close early? I mean, everything's been altered.
I'm constantly Googling what time does Lowe's food close? What time does Food Line close? I don't know. I don't know anymore. Are they closing at 8 today? Because
Right,
at one point
right.
it was 7, it was 8. Are they, oh, they're going to be open until midnight this time. All right, cool. I got, like, I'm always Googling closing
Yeah,
hours because I don't know.
yeah, and I'm thinking, well, what time of day will the least number of people be there? When can I go when nobody else is there, or the fewest people possible? So, yeah, it's a scary situation, and you work with older adults, so you probably know a lot more about what's going on in communities, and is there anything there that you want to talk about?
This social isolation is the biggest piece. The loneliness and just hearing and learning about the decline health wise that a lot of older adults are experiencing because they're not having any type of social interaction at all. And I mean, that was an issue before the pandemic, of course, but it's only been magnified more because of the pandemic. And um, just trying to figure out, like, well, what can we do to resolve this issue? I saw a video that one of my coworkers had sent for one community, and the residents, it showed what they look like in March, and then it showed what they look like today. And it was like, oh my gosh, scary, 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 scary. And it just shows like how important it is for humans, like humans need each other. And we don't always realize that until we're put in challenging situations such as this to know, like, man, this is really important. This is a real issue that is so overlooked. Um, so if anything, it's just that I want people. Sorry, look, I keep getting these.
That's okay.
I keep getting reminders of stuff that's going on.
You're supposed to be doing other things right now, Christina. What are you doing? Stop talking to Leah and get back to work.
It was like I forgot there was like a it's a webinar today, but I'm not doing it. But anyway, so, but yeah, I just want people to know, like, honestly, we're all in this together. Each person is being affected by it in some kind of way. And our older adults, this is what they've been experiencing forever. And now we get a true feel of it. So, like, what can we do about it?
Right, right. And I think a big issue that I've learned about is just the lack of technology that's available to our older adults, whether they live at home independently or whether they're in a community setting. And even in community settings, the sometimes the staff doesn't know how to use the technology. Sometimes they don't have internet access in residents' rooms, but the residents are confined to their rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's not at all the same as being face to face with a person. I mean, it's
Right.
very different, but it's the second best thing at this point. And so that's a huge issue that I know CMS has, set aside some funds for skilled care to apply for. But there are a lot of assisted living and other types of communities, and again, people living independently that we can't send someone into their house to teach them
Right.
how to use the technology, even if we were able to buy it and get it to them. The risk of exposing them, unless it's someone who's already been tested and we know,
Right.
so it's yeah, and there's a lot of focus on, understandably, there's a lot of focus on children not having access because they can't, you know, participate in school, and
Mm-hmm.
that's completely understandable. I think that this whole situation really magnifies the digital divide, the socioeconomic divide, the racial
Mm-hmm.
divide. Like, it just really amplifies all of the issues that
Mm-hmm.
we have in our country.
Yeah, I mean, it does, especially that technology piece. You know, I've for years we've heard how we kind of exclude older adults from technology based on assumptions that they're not interested in learning about it, or some people may lack the patience to teach them about it, whatever the reason is. But it just goes to show all of these years where people have been pushing, like, no, we need to include them, we need to teach them. And it just goes to show, like, that we jumped on that bus years ago.
Yes.
Part of the issue as it relates to technology and not being able to get in there to teach them how to use it, things like that, it could have been prevented. But moving forward, now we know, like, or now it's been made clear,
Yeah.
this is the problem for children, young adults, older adults. These are areas that need to be addressed as soon as possible. These are areas that we need to sit down and try to brainstorm. Like, we have a committee here with the social isolation, and we meet and we talk and we try to come up with ways that how can we do our part in this, and not just like talk about, oh, well, we need to do this and we need that, but like, how do we move forward and put it into action so that we can do our part and we can contribute to making things easier for people. So yeah, that's really
It's a lot. It is. And I guess let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the racial situation in our country. Um, I know it's exhausting. It's just exhausting. And I am a white person who has lived a life of privilege. So I
Mhm.
can't even imagine what it's like for people of color.
Yeah,
I'm exhausted and I'm furious, and I there's so many things that I want to do to shape people and make change happen. So
right.
I just yeah, I mean, how are you dealing with everything there?
I know for weeks it was like, you know what? I can't get on social media because I've never been one who's been able to watch videos of people experiencing whatever it does. I don't have the mental ability to do that, like, because it's not something I can just look at and move on with life.
Yeah.
So I've never put myself in that situation, but you can still get on social media and you may see photos or posts describing what took place and all of that stuff. And it's like, oh, this is a lot. Like, it would make me sick to my stomach. And then, or it would, make you just like furious, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, like, and it's like, I can't do that. So I'm one who will just disconnect.
Yeah.
And I guess to protect myself. But in a way, at times, I feel like I've lived a life of privilege, and it's not the same as um, Caucasians, but I know that the way I was brought up, I was like fortunate to be raised in a family that I had a good connection with. I was always sheltered and had a lot of protection where I didn't experience some of the things that people have experienced. But in that, what I've been reflecting on is, no, like, it may have been some level of privilege. You were protected, but you still experienced things. You just didn't know that's what it was because it was never taught, or no one ever explained, these are the type of situations you should look out for. And so when I like start trying to when I replay certain situations that have happened that I didn't like or that made me uncomfortable, and it could have been with someone who was Caucasian in those moments, because I'm always trying to be optimistic and I give people the benefit of the doubt a lot, just because it's easier for me to do that instead of like trying to get fixated on what it was they may have been doing.
Yeah.
But because of that, I've like overlooked things that could have been addressed, and I could have put a stop to it, and I didn't, because I just said no, it couldn't have been that, or maybe this was, no, it was what it was. You just didn't know, you weren't used to it, and you just being you
Yeah.
wanted to take it and make it something better than what it was. But I just get uncomfortable. I think of my family. I think of my brother. I think of my father. I think of cousins. I think of friends. And I do like have those moments where I'm like, what would I do if this happened to someone super close to me? I know how I feel when it's not even someone I know.
Right.
Like, what would I do? And my brother likes to go walking. And you're like, okay, he's just trying to be physically active, keep moving. What would I do if something happened to him because he went walking in the wrong neighborhood one day, just because he was trying to get out of the house that we have been stuck inside of for months? We can't sit down all day because that's not good for our health. So let me get up and move. Like, what would I do in those situations? And then I had to stop myself from thinking about it, because then I start getting anxious, like in my head, So it's just been a lot, and I don't think I can really put it into words, like how I feel. I know I think I've tried to avoid some things, not look at some things or whatever, just to protect my peace. But at the end of the day, when you go to bed at night and all the things you may have tried to avoid,
Yes.
they come rushing. And then it's like, what do I do with this? How do I put it into words? And so, yeah, I don't even have the words to put into how I feel. And I think when I talk about it, it'll be all over the place, because it's like, I just don't even know what to say. I have so many thoughts. And so, yeah.
Well, I don't think you're alone in that. I mean, I think it's such a huge mix of emotions. And I'm very much like you. If I do watch something, and I have watched, the George Floyd video, and I can't get it out of my head. And I've seen other things that I cannot get it out of my head. And at night, yeah, you can stay busy during the day and avoid,
Mm-hmm.
but then it all comes, popping in your head no matter what. And I think a lot of people are struggling with putting the emotions into words, because I guess as a society we're very used to just like putting things in boxes.
Yeah.
This is a diagnosis, this is a symptom, this is a this is a this, and this is so huge. It's been going on for so long, and it's out there every day. And it's like Will Smith said, people aren't just now getting racist.
No.
It's being caught on film now, because everybody, has, and that's not verbatim what he said, but it was something like
Yeah.
that. And that's it. So it's everywhere. So once you see, one thing happens, and then all of the videos from the past 5, 6 years then are edited together, and they're, shown, and it's overwhelming.
Yeah. It is. It's very overwhelming. And I know, which I'm grateful, with my friends, it was like, did you hear about it? Yeah, I heard about it. It's like, oh man, whatever. But we don't get stuck talking about it for hours.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate it because, like I said, you go through like boop, boop, boop of emotions, and it's a lot going on already to then add that to the mix of, what's going on in your head. And I've just been so big on protecting my mental health because I know that there were times when I felt like that was out of control and I didn't know how to do it. And now that I've learned skills on how to manage it, I am just so protective of what I allow to come in and disrupt it. Of course, some things, you can't control. It'll come, whatever. But when I can,
Yeah.
but it definitely doesn't mean, I know there was like pressure of, yeah, if you're not posting about it on social media, you're part of the problem. And if you're not this and you're not that, and it's like, dang, you
Yeah.
are putting a lot of like pressure and responsibility on us, like on anyone, anybody, any race. Like
Yeah.
for me, it's like everyone cares in their own way. But how they approach it is how they approach it. It's not before social media was here. What were you gonna say would have been grounds for a person not caring, or so all of that coming in the mix. It's just been a lot.
It is. There's a lot of judgment going around and a lot of people using their own yardsticks to measure everybody else, right? So what's right for one person, it's like they decide that that's what everybody should do. And that's just a completely unfair approach to such a complicated situation, I think.
Yeah, and then people take your words when you do have thoughts. Everyone is now having to be careful of what they say when it's like, if this is your truth, this is your truth.
Yeah.
And how people interpret it is how they interpret it. Cause like even just a few minutes ago when I was like, I feel like I kind of had a little level of privilege in my mind. I was like, Christina, don't say that. I do. But then I have this pressure from my own community where it's like, no, ma'am, you are Black. You don't have privilege. But I feel like, in a way, like,
Well, and your feelings are valid. And I think that's the hard part of this is people feel like they can't share their authentic thoughts and feelings. They're afraid of how people are going to react, and people are reacting in a way that is saying you shouldn't feel that way. You can't feel that way. You're wrong.
mm-hmm,
But in fact, if that's your truth, like you say, that's been your life experience, how
mm-hmm,
can that be wrong?
right, right. So I just, honestly, I feel like when I see posts that say things like you're a part of the problem, you're this or that, and I'm like, honey, the finger, everyone should point a finger at themselves. Like it's not one single person, it's not a group of people, it's everyone. I feel like we all hold some level of responsibility. We all play a role in what's going on. Now, things from in the past that have happened, I can't speak for. I can't speak to. I wasn't there. But I most definitely get it. I most definitely see the unfairness. I see the how, wrongly treated we have been from years and years ago. Like I get all of that. But if I can just focus on right now,
Mhm.
just right now, I feel like we all play a role in this. And you have some people who go to the extreme. And when they go to the extreme, then you're just as wrong as the next person who has wrongly done something to a person of color. You know what I mean? So it's like
That's crazy.
It's like if we could all just see the roles that we play when we say things with not and don't put any thought into it. And it's like, ugh, why did I just say that? Oh, because I'm used to saying it. Maybe I need to change what I'm saying, or I need to change what I'm thinking, or I need to change the judgments that I'm placing on people that I don't know. It's simply because of how the person looks. That's something I can fix within myself. And the next person can as well. We can't control individuals who refuse to change. All we can do is voice what we see, how we feel, and trust or hope or pray that eventually it'll get through. And then we can't look at it as such as when we speak on this, the entire world is going to hear what we say and they're going to accept it. It has to be if I can reach one person.
Mhm.
So, like I said, my thoughts go all over the place when it
No,
comes to
you're
this.
completely making sense to me. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. You're talking about the pandemic and your friend that said, "What is it that I can control?" In my life. Well, it's the same. It's all of the issues have that same solution. What is it that I can control in my own life where I can be better, I can be a better person, I can make better decisions, and I can help others. What are the steps that I can take? What is it within me that I need to change?
Mm-hmm.
How can I be a better person? Basically, is what it boils down to. And as
Yeah.
opposed to continuing to point the finger at everyone else, which I have to say, I am all for the peaceful protests. I believe
Mm-hmm.
that is absolutely necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's a whole different situation that's bringing to light additional issues with these militias, that think that they have the right to go shoot people because they're helping the police or what. It again, it's just so complicated, and you think about one thing and there are layers and layers
Yeah.
on top of that, so there's just not a simple answer.
Yeah, it's not there. There's not, and I mean, I give kudos to the people who are all for being on large platforms and speaking out or speaking on behalf of Black people. I give kudos to it. I just want people to be mindful that just because someone isn't doing the same thing on whatever platform they have, or not voicing their thoughts and opinions on social media or anything, it doesn't make them less in the movement as the next person. And really and truly, we are. It's such a cliche, but we really are all in this together. It's just hard for people to see that because of their own views, their own traumas, and pain and everything else. So I don't. I really like look for the day when everything could be common on common ground. Um, I hold that in my heart, like it could happen. I look for that day, but in the meantime, I'm gonna just keep working on me so that I can contribute something good to society, to my community, and just do my part. And like we said already, I really believe that that's what's going to make the change, for people to look inside themselves to see what areas, um, within their lives are contributing to the issue and not the solution. So,
Do you feel like, you were talking earlier about things that had happened in the past where you didn't recognize what was going on? I'm making an assumption that it was a racial
Mm-hmm.
situation, or it could have been a gender situation. I've certainly experienced my share of gender judgment. um, but do you feel like moving forward, do you think you'll recognize it more? And if so, if it happens, you'll recognize it for what it is. And if so, will your reaction be different?
No, cause like in the moments where I could see what it was, because I'm big on keeping the peace, I just kind of the situation. I was in college, so it's like a you got to work with these people, and I didn't know. I at the time where I was in my mind and everything, I didn't know how to address it without being nasty. Because
Right.
it was like, you really, huh? You know, so the only thing I could do was let it roll. Moving forward, just what I've learned, the skills I've gained, and the things that I've been working on with myself, um, I believe I could address it and it not be nasty, but it could be made clear, like, I heard you say this, and I don't want to, trying to address it in a way where you're not accusing them, but you're letting them know I did hear what you said. Now, if that is what you were saying, I want to let you know that's not okay. If it's not what you were saying, give me more info. What is it that? Because I might be misinterpreting. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I think I've gained skills to be able to approach it and it not go sideways. But it's just back then it was like I'm either gonna do this or
Yeah. I can understand that. Yeah. Being able to kind of take a minute or a few seconds and
mm-hmm,
say, anger is not going to give me a positive result here.
mm-mm, mm-mm,
So let me just breathe and then say, then open a line of communication.
mm-mm. And because I feel like I'm a representative of my family, my job, um, my blog, my friends, God, like I'm a representative. And so when I look at it as such, it's like, all right, remember, you're representing a lot of people here. And, there's a way we're going to have to approach this so that you won't mess up what you have going on, but you're still going to make it clear, like, this is what it is. And I think there's a way of doing that and being professional, being kind, but also making it clear, like, this is what it is. And then just being hopeful that the person doesn't try to pull you in across that line. Like
Yeah.
it's like in your mind, you're constantly working. It's constant work. Christina, no, take a deep breath. Don't say anything. Don't let your ego get in the way. Don't be patient with this person. Like in my mind, if people knew like the work I'm putting in just because I don't want you to get what's in here, like is there. And I don't want you to get that. I don't want to give that. So I'm gonna put extra work in to make sure that um we can keep this here and it not, you know, be crazy. So yeah, just to answer the question again, if I were to experience something um racial or gender, whatever, um, I have enough confidence in myself to address it and it just be that. So
Good. That's good. I mean, we all grow, and
yeah.
get to that point where we can have the grown up conversation
Yeah.
And it's hard, especially if the other person gets emotional, and there's nothing wrong with emotions.
Right.
I think that's part of the problem with our culture is people hide their emotions too much, and we're not supposed to show them.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that in a positive way, to say, you know, that offended me or that hurt me, and this
Hmm.
is why, and not point the finger. But when the other person gets defensive and maybe angry, then it's very hard to handle that.
It's very hard, but it's just like, you know what? I thank you for your time. I'm gonna make an exit before this gets bad. Maybe we can talk about this another day. Like, but I am definitely at a point now, like I said, like I just refuse. I can't let you take me there. Like I cannot. I know you want me to go there. You really do, but I can't.
Yeah.
I can't let you do this. Like I owe that to myself. And like I said, I'm a representative of a lot of people that um care for me and love me. And I don't want to do anything that's gonna, put them in a space like, come on, Christina, you could have done, like, mm-mm,
Yeah. Yeah.
mm-mm, I can't do it.
You're a good person, Christina.
I try to be. I try to be. I really do. I'm just grateful for growth because I've been a hothead, and
Me too.
I don't want to go back to those days.
Me either. It is hard. It takes a lot of practice.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I've definitely been. When's your birthday?
April, I'm Aries.
I'm an Aries.
That's it. That's why. I'm not all into the astrological stuff,
I'm not either,
but
but
I
some
have to
people.
say the Aries does fit me.
Yeah, I try not to get into it, but I know I've heard little bits and pieces of what people say about Aries. I'm like, I do kind of fit the description a little bit there. But yeah, like it's there, and it's there. I mean, it's not
Yeah,
something that goes away. You just work on not allowing people to get, pull that out of you and just say,
right.
you know what, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna let this wolf come out. And
Yeah. I'm not going to scare all these people today. Oh my gosh. Oh, well, Christina, it's been a pleasure talking with you today.
thank
Is there
you.
anything else you would like to add? Any message you would like to send people?
No, not really. I don't think I have anything extra to say. I believe that I'm just a really big believer that even in this dark time, that it's a scripture that I stand on, that all things will work together for the good of them. And I focus on that. Like, this is uncomfortable. This is a dark time for a lot of people. But somewhere in there, like, this is going to come together, and we're going to be on the other side of it and looking at it like, remember back when, like, oh man, here we are. Like, that's where I stay. And anyone else with their arms open to that mindset, go ahead and grab it. But yeah, that's all I really have for the
That's
people.
great. That's a good note to end on.
Yeah.
Thank you again
Thank
for
you.
talking with me today.
Thank
And
you.
I will see you soon.
All right. Bye, Leah.
Bye. Have a good one. Stay safe.
You too. Bye.
Bye.